What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Battle of Central Europe Season 3. This is going to be the last series of the day, AfterShock Gaming, going up against Denial Esports in a best of two. And well, right now, AfterShock are actually undefeated in this group, and Denial have been struggling just a little bit more. So, AfterShock, they're on a tear. Let's see if Denial can stop them. Here on HeflaTV, Hitbox 1, we're going to be bringing you the games. I'm Mike Loris. I've got Grandis here as well. And man, I'm actually looking forward to seeing AfterShock. It seems like they're a lot stronger than I previously thought.
Yeah, wasn't expecting them to be as or performing as well as they are in this tournament. Let's say they're currently looking really good, and this is a good way to start out the second draft or the first draft of this best of two series. We're going to see a Death Prophet first pick from AfterShock, and for the last couple of series, Death Prophet has either been banned out really early or left through the pool. And with that early wisp ban, AfterShock are gonna take away what Denial have been showing the rest of this tournament as well.
I think it's a good change of pace. I mean, if you kind of get stuck in that IO rut, then you can very easily get shut down. So they're now going to be forced into playing something different, Denial, and that might be drawing for them. It might be perfectly comfortable for them. Maybe they had no plans of picking up the IO, but it seemed unlikely. They're going to pick up the Brewmaster because Batrider has taken a little bit of a higher priority ban in this particular game. So, I mean, Denial, even though they don't get exactly what they want in the IO, you can't really be too upset about picking up a Brewmaster first, and especially when you partner him with a Skywrath Mage, even though the enemy team has a Death Prophet, you're going to be feeling pretty good about yourself.
Yeah, I think this is pretty much a standard opener, although it might not be standard for this tournament. It's definitely picks we're accustomed to seeing in the current metagame, with Brewmaster, Skywrath Mage, and Death Prophet being some of the highest tier picks. Razor is pretty much the only one that's been banned out of my top four, I suppose. And let's see what AfterShock are going to combo with this DP. They could go for the Jakiro if they really want to buckle down some pushing potential, but there's still plenty of other supports or other heroes available if they want to go for them. Tidehunter's in the pool, so if they want to fill their offlaner slot, that's probably one of the better ways to do it.
Yeah, I like the Tide here. I like the Jakiro here. And I was also going to say I like the Ogre Magi here, but I guess Jakiro is going to take preference over all of those. As you said, a lot of pushing power. I mean, just these two heroes, even if you don't go over any other pushing heroes in the game, you will be just fine to pressure the Denial sides of the towers. And, well, so far, Denial, they haven't really been under a lot of pressure in these previous games. It's been a rather slow 45-ish minute farm up your items first and then start some fights type of game, but this is certainly not going to be the case in this game. Brewmaster, of course, is going to want to farm up that Blink Dagger, but up against Death Prophet and Jakiro pushing, it's going to be very difficult. And then I really like what AfterShock do right now. Ban out the puck. It's been a pretty nice hero for Denial, along with that IO, and it's a great way of initiating fights before you could actually get set up with your push.
I'll just take this time to mention that if you are looking for Power Rangers versus My Insanity, that game's going on HeflaTV, or rather hitbox.com/HeflaTV. HB2 instead of HB1. So if you just change that up in your browser, you should be able to find those games. But if you're sticking with us, more the power to you. After this game, we will have Denial versus My Insanity, finishing up that best of two that started forever ago. But into this game, we are going to stay as Enigma's taken out by Denial. It would have offered a lot of pushing power as well as teamfight potential to AfterShock, and it's a fairly scary hero, but AfterShock's banned. It's going to be a Beastmaster taken out of the pool by them.
They're certainly very scared about being initiated upon before they actually get everything set up. Maybe they even want to go deeper because of this. I mean, usually you're okay with letting the Beastmaster through. It is one of the heroes that Denial pick very highly, or they tend to pick very highly. Venomancer, also another one of those heroes. I wouldn't be surprised to see him being picked up right now, but Beastmaster is a Denial pick, so AfterShock have clearly done their homework here, and I actually really like this ban. I mean, up against any other team, probably going to be a little bit more questionable, but Denial play the hero very regularly. It's very good against both Jakiro and Death Prophet, so it actually works out pretty well for AfterShock, whereas Denial, they're just making sure that they're not going to be pushed that hard. Enigma, with his Eidolons, is not going to be available this game, and Abaddon with his Sustain, also not going to be available. So the second phase of bans, I think they're pretty straightforward, and they both make quite a bit of sense.
Reserve time.
As far as what's still available in the pool for Denial Esports' snag up, I think Centaur would fill a similar role to what that Beastmaster or Puck would have done. Although the laning phase is a little bit sketchier for that hero, it definitely could work out for them. And if they want to pick him up, he's still there. So I think that's a good choice. And actually, Tidehunter is available as well. So if they really want to buckle down their team fight, that's also an option.
And if Aftershock have taken so much effort into making sure they don't get initiated upon, maybe you also want to go, maybe not Tidehunter, maybe you want to go for a Centaur. Both of those heroes can start fights off on their own, but for now, Denial are going to take the Mirana. It's not really surprising there, and it's a good enough support hero for Denial. And I mean, if you have the skill to land those freehand arrows, then you're going to be very happy with yourself. But Denial, I'm expecting it's going to be a Venomancer pick for them. It's also one of the heroes that they really do enjoy playing, but yeah, right now they have quite a bit of flexibility moving forward, whereas for Aftershock, they can start veering away from this death ball pushing comp, and so far I don't really see any reason to veer away. They could keep going since Denial don't really have that much great counter push.
Yeah. I think they would like to pick up some initiation power of their own as well, just to make sure that they're able to win those fights in order to transition into tower pushes. I think picking up a different offlane hero than Jakiro would be useful for them, and there's still always that option to fully commit towards that push. For now, it's going to be a Dazzle. A very interesting pick. I wasn't really expecting this coming out from them.
This is like a half commitment, kind of. And oh, well, okay, well, Dazzle, you know what counters Shallow Grave, right? You just got to chop their head off, man. It doesn't matter if they're at 1 HP, if they have no head. Axe, the instant response from Denial. And as I was saying with the Dazzle, it's kind of like a half measure. You can go for that sustained pushing style if you pick up this hero because he does offer you that additional bit of healing. But Denial are going to try to brick wall this with an Axe. And honestly, I don't really know how you lane an Axe. It's seen so infrequently that you can probably get away with anything. But if you want to be fighting early, if you're expecting the early game push, then Axe is more than happy to jump in and start spinning.
Yeah, I'd love to see an aggressive trialing coming out from Denial. Scarlet Mage Axe +1 can be very scary, but Aftershock, they're going to take a page out of Moscow 5 International Screen Squad's book and pick up the Tusk. Okay, so up until this point, the picks look really normal, but then Tusk and Axe in the same spot.
I think they actually did play this hero before. Back when we were waiting for Power Rangers Denial to start, Aftershock were running the Tusk, or there was a Tusk in the Aftershock game. I don't know if they were the ones to be playing it, but it seems like still a very aggressive lineup for Aftershock, but you're going to be snowballing into an Axe. I don't really know if that's what you want to be doing. The Sigil is not going to be fantastic here, as Denial are mostly skill-based as far as how they output their damage, and Ogre Magi is going to get the boot out, so maybe Aftershock are expecting a core Mirana right now, but honestly, after an Axe Tusk, anything could happen, so who knows. I guess it's time to fulfill some things on your wish list, if anything is there.
I suppose so. As far as supports are concerned, I don't think there's really anything that comes to mind immediately. Yeah, Aftershock, this Tusk, it is going to be a Tidehunter. So Denial Esports are going to go with something a little bit more standard. It is going to be a support Mirana, it seems, to, I don't know, just roam around and look for those arrows. Not the greatest of setups to line up for that Sacred Arrow, but if one lands, it should be a kill. For Aftershock, I like this Tusk counter-initiating up against a Brewmaster and Axe. It's pretty nice, but if you do use the Snowball to initiate into the enemy team, you're asking for a heap of trouble. If Tusk is played aggressively early on, that's okay, but in the mid-game, I think he needs to be solely in a counter-initiator role.
Yeah, if you could protect people who are called and attacking Axe, then Axe is going to be awkwardly standing there not doing much, and Tidehunter Ravage might not be hitting everyone that he expects it to either. And at worst case scenario, like the easiest scenario for Tusk is, oh, my ally got hit with an arrow, I'm just going to put them in the snowball with me, and then there's no damage that's going to be dealt there. Or a Mystic Flare scenario could happen at a very similar kind of way. So Tusk as a defensive hero, I certainly do like it against what Denial have right now. As an offensive hero, maybe early on he can get going, but later on he's going to have to be a little more careful. But really, it's all about keeping the Jakiro and Death Prophet alive. For Aftershock, those are their main sources of damage right now. And I'm pretty sure even if you put Death Prophet into a snowball, if she has Exorcism going, her spirits are still floating around. So I believe that's how it works, and if it does, then that's a pretty sick combo.
Yeah, it really is. It's pretty much even more time that Death Prophet can use to be invulnerable. If you have like Yule's Scepter, that's 2 seconds, then you have 4 seconds inside the snowball. That's pretty sick, and they actually can't fight into that. If they try to get near that snowball with all these ghosts flying around it, they're going to be in for quite a lot of hurt. And then even if they get deep under the tower with the Exorcism going, it's so unlikely that they're going to convincingly win a fight. For Aftershock's last pick, it's going to be a Necrophos. I wasn't expecting this, but the Death Ball push is real coming out from Aftershock.
Oh, for sure. It's another hero that could benefit very heavily from just buying himself a little bit of time inside of that snowball. I mean, I'm pretty sure you also do damage with your aura, your Heartstopper, when you're in that snowball. So pseudo combination, I guess, in that regard. But waiting for another Death Pulse within the duration of the snowball can be the difference for Necrophos. So it's definitely not the most conventional of lineups, but after those kind of replicated Wisp games previously, I'm more than happy to cast these heroes. This is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, it should. Even if it completely snowballs into one side's favor, it's going to be awesome to see these heroes in play. And yeah, and just a really interesting matchup. Like, this is something you're hardly ever going to see, even in your pubs. Like, I think it's unlikely these heroes are going to be picked up in this orientation.
Yeah, there's no Bloodseeker. What the hell? Come on, teams. Break the captain's mode limit and go grab that hero. He needs to be played. But anyway, guys, we are now going to start things off with a pause. It's pretty much trademark denial at this point. But just a quick reminder, you can buy the in-game ticket in the Dota 2 store right now. It's about $5 USD, however much that is in your currency. I have no idea. But you get the ticket, you can watch in-game, and you also get a pretty sweet Meepo set as well. So check that one out, buy the ticket, support the tournament. And once again, guys, thanks for tuning in. If you want to watch Power Rangers versus, what was it, Mind Sanity, it's on HeflaTV HB2. So that's the state of where we are right now, and this is going to be the last set of the day. However, it will be 2 games here, Denial versus AfterShock twice, and then Denial versus Mind Sanity to finish the day off. And maybe we can get this game going soon, but I told them in the lobby, no more pausing, but clearly they're not listening to me.
Yeah, I don't know right now. I suppose we can introduce the players and their heroes that they're playing on. On the Dire side, we are going to have AfterShock Gaming with Kefka playing on the Jakiro, Zeroji handling the Dazzle, Mind Control on the Death Prophet, Jalopy on the Necrophos, and Magoma on the Tusk.
And on Denial, playing the Axe, it is going to be fucking Mad Funzy is going to be on the Tide Hunter, Paris is going to be on the Mirana, Jaral is going to be on the Brewmaster, and then who's the last player? It's going to be Cryo J, who's going to be taking the Skywrath Mage for Denial. And this is actually the opposite direction we want to go after Shock. We want more heroes to be in this game, not taken out. So if they could just turn that the other way, that'll be great.
It would. We are going to have Death Prophet reconnecting, but still sans one hero from Denial. And, well, it's Cryo J this time, and he was having problems on the Wisp last time around, so... okay. Go comes out from both sides. There's your Skywrath Mage.
Man, I never realized how big Tusk's hand was. I mean, obviously he punches things, and that's kind of a given, but up close it looks a lot bigger. Anyway, they're loading up into their lanes right now, or at least AfterShock, they're heading down towards the south lane. Do they have a smoke right now? It looks like they don't. Usually when you draft a Tusk, you want to be playing super aggressively in the early stages just because he is so effective at doing that. Maybe smoke could have been useful here, but either way, they're going to group up and look for a level 1 fight. They don't really have great ways of initiating, though, outside of a snowball and charge in, but that's always inherently risky.
Yeah, I think it's okay if they don't play this Tusk incredibly aggressively at the early portions of the game. I don't see that really as his role, but we might see an initiation with Snowball. If he can get everybody inside the ball, and they are going to. That Snowball is coming in like a freight train on the effing mat. Caught between 4 enemy heroes. Ice Path lands. They don't have the damage, however. He's under tower, and he survives.
Axe has double stout shield, and AfterShock actually don't have that much damage from level 1. Like, they threw out all their skills. It was an Ice Path, it was a Grip Storm, it was Snowball. Dazzle doesn't even have anything skilled up, so I'm actually not too surprised that Axe managed to walk away from that one. I mean, if they had something like a Gyrocopter on their team, then Axe was dog food for sure. He had no chance of surviving there, but right now, AfterShock, they don't have that much damage. They need a lot of levels on everyone, or on the 3 cores at the very least, to get this damage up, as their supports are rather defensive. At least, for the most part, they're rather defensive and very low damage, so maybe later on they'll be able to make that happen.
Yeah, it looks like they're actually going to farm this Mirana in the bottom lane, and effing Matt is going to be just straight up jungling on this Axe. The double stout shield opening, he was forced to use one of those Tengas, but he does get full regen back in the base. And, I don't know, Dazzle Tusk isn't the greatest as far as, excuse me, getting those early kills off. There are a lot of wards dropped inside the enemy jungle, which will slow down Axe's farm by quite a bit. Both of the medium camps being denied away from him means he's pretty much going to be able to farm the small camp, and that's it. The Wild Wing Rippers, it's not the worst camp to spawn for him, but it's not the greatest either. Actually, That Sentry Ward didn't block the camp.
That was very close. These Radiant spawn camps, or spawn boxes, are really freaking weird. The Axe still won't have that many camps to farm, but he has two that are actually pretty close to each other. And that's a set wasted sentry from AfterShock, so I guess Fucking Mad can't be too unhappy about this, but still for the most part, the pattern that he wants to jungle isn't going to be the one that he is able to jungle, and AfterShock have done a little bit to slow him down, and while in this bottom lane we see a very awkward tri-lane. I don't think I've ever seen this before. Necrophos, Dazzle, and Tusk all together. They have quite a bit of sustain. They have quite a few tools that just keeping the fights going on for longer, but their damage output is extremely low in this bottom lane.
Yeah, we have some people in the chat asking about Denial versus Vine Sandius. It was promised that it would happen now. But this tournament schedule, at least today, is completely, I don't know, borked. I have no idea.
Anything. I never promised anything, guys. There was a tilde in front of that time, which meant about that time, and we're kind of about there.
It's not a pretty picture. Right now, Jakiro's left alone up against the Tidehunter, and Tidehunter's actually CSing very well for this matchup. It's not a great one for either of these heroes, but I would have thought that Kefka would have a better edge.
Yeah, the Tidehunter is having quite a nice time right now. Jakiro, he obviously does get a little bit better as he progresses onwards with more liquid fire, and he should be doing a lot better for sure, but he will be able to recover once he hits level 3 and once he hits level 5. Then Funzy's going to take consistent damage and harassment from that liquid fire, and well, Kefka should be able to bring that lane back at least just a little bit, but for right now we're going to see another one of these passive starts to these games. Mind control over towards mid is pretty much neck and neck with the Brewmaster, and then over towards bottom lane, Paris 8-0 versus the 12-3, and Paris isn't that far behind this Necrophos, so overall, things are going fairly evenly. However, there is also the fact that Axe is jungling to consider. In Denial, they're going to have another way of getting gold and experience through that hero, although because he has so few camps, it's not going to be that much. Magoma's going to run straight into said Axe, take a Battle Hunger, and looks like that will be it. Honestly, I'm not really sure what AfterShock are trying to accomplish with this bottom lane. They don't really have enough lockdown to kill off anyone, so aggressive tri-lane, maybe if he keeps Paris away from the creep line, it's fine, but they're not even doing that.
Yeah, and honestly, as far as shutting down a hero, Mirana is one of the carries that really doesn't get shut down entirely by missing farm. You're always going to have some utility coming out from Moonlight Shadow, as well as if an arrow lands, you're still going to get the kills, even if Mirana has some drums or Aquila on top of the phase boots. And I think Paris is going to be okay with how these lanes are working out, but I suppose it is securing farm for their Necrophos, so they at least have that going for themselves. I think if Jakiro was winning his lane a little bit harder, or winning his lane at all, this lane setup works out for AfterShock. In mid, Jarrell eats another Cryptstorm from the Death Prophet. This is a matchup that we're fairly accustomed to seeing. Until level 6 comes out from either side, it's unlikely that either is going to kill Sans rotations. The Axe as well as the Tusk were close, but these two heroes on their own don't really do much, especially since Axe goes for 2 points in counter Helix.
Well, Jakiro's recovering pretty well. He's almost at level 5 mark. So now the tower, it has previously been pushed towards his side of the map because of the Anchor Smash spam. Soon enough, because of Liquid Fire level 3, it will be going the other way towards the Radiant. And really, AfterShock don't really have a huge trigger where they are actually going to look to be aggressive versus the towers. It's pretty linear with the levels up on Jakiro as well as Death Prophet. But once those levels do, in fact, come up, then Denial, they're going to start losing some structures, and they don't really have many great ways of dealing with that. Axe is going to be a pretty large benefit, but Axe can only sometimes be very effective as he relies so heavily on positioning, and if for whatever reason you can't get close to your targets due to snowballs or random ice shards, something like that, then well, Axe's contribution is going to be fairly limited. He can't really dive in and defend his towers until he has a Blink Dagger, and that's not anywhere in sight for this Axe, so we are going to see a relatively passive start, and Axe actually moving over towards the enemy jungle. I think this is the right move. He wasn't farming efficiently enough, and what's the worst that could happen? Jakiro's going to find you? It's not too dangerous.
Yeah, especially only a level 5 Jakiro that's not sitting on very much farm at all. For now, our level 6 is up for the Brewmaster, and although level 6 is there for the Death Prophet, no points in Ultimate, but we have potential to see First Blood onto Mind Control. As Curio's going to go back to base, and with the split on the Brewmaster, they might be able to get this kill with the Axe. Although still no points in call, they're going to open up with Concussive Shot, Clap, Split. Now Mind Control is in a whole heap of trouble. The TP support is coming, but not fast enough, as Mind Control is going to be your First Blood as Jarrell punches him down with the Brewlings. They also bring the Tusk as well as Dazzle in, so a lot of forced rotations that don't do much at all.
They thought that maybe they could get in there in time for a shallow grave or a heal, because the Dazzle doesn't have shallow grave, and then maybe put the hero in a snowball. Buy her just a little bit more time, but alas, that was not to be the case. Death Prophet turned around for a Crypt Swarm there. If she didn't do that, I'm pretty sure she could have walked out of there alive, or at the very least would have been saved by her allies. Top lane we see Jakiro very low, is going to run straight into fucking Mad. A Battle Hunger will kill off Kefka. He needs to be the king of last hitting right now. Fucking Mad is going to dive this tower with the call. Kefka needs a spin. Fucking Mad, he's going to get it. Ice Path onto Fucking Mad is going to get him killed. In the process, he does get a kill as well, and that is going to be just a 1-for-1 trade over on the top lane. Axe finally coming out of the jungle and getting a kill. It's not too terrible, and especially getting a kill on Jakiro is always going to be extremely useful for the team.
Yeah. But I suppose it's some extra experience for Dazzle, and he now is sitting on level 5 points in all of his spells. In fact, a very aggressive opener coming out from this Dazzle. 3 points up in the Poison Touch.
So yeah, he definitely wants to be as aggressive as he possibly can, but just Dazzle as a hero can't be aggressive or can't get that many kills, even though he may be going for the quote-unquote aggressive build. However, Funzy going now into a 4v1 scenario with no Ravage is pretty screwed regardless. There are not many ways to lock him down, but Ice Shard is going to catch him perfectly. Scythe, not available for Jalopy, but it's not even necessary. Funzy's going to take a fall, just massively outnumbered. Suddenly 10 million heroes, and you can't really do too much about that, especially when Mind Control is packing a DD. Unfortunately, they did use Exorcism for that, and the creep wave isn't quite yet at the tower, so they don't get full Exorcism value right now, and they don't have Jakiro here, so this tower looks like it is going to fall, although it is going to be a lot slower than it really should be.
Yeah. Jakiro has made his way down towards bottom, and it's going to be a full lane switch as Necrophos now farming up towards top. TP back to this tower coming out from the Tidehunter will be able to delay this a little bit, but I don't think he's going to be able to delay it enough. This tier 1 tower is going to die. They keep the catapult alive now with 3 range creeps. It's going to fall, and it's going to be the last hit going the way of the Necrophos. The ideal hero to get it on. Now AfterShock are looking pretty good in this early game stages.
Well, for sure. You get the extra golden Necrophos, also get that 1 stack of Sadist. Got to get that regen back up, man. And, well, Jakiro in the meantime, bottom lane, just leveling up. He's level 7 now, and this is really where Jakiro starts to take off. He gets a little bit better once he gets his Yule Scepter, but aside from that, this is pretty much where you want to be as the hero. 75 seconds until there is another Exorcism up, and maybe if they find another pick off on the Tidehunter, a nice high priority kill like that, they will be able to just bypass everything and just go straight for another push, even though they may not have their pushing skills up because they have the Liquid Fire, but I don't really know if that's too possible, because right now, Denial, they're working with both a Ravage and a Split. And that is, well, just one of those is enough to win a fight. If you use both of them, you're probably going to crush the fight.
Yeah. For now, Tusk really hasn't had a huge impact at all. He's going for a max Sigil build, or at least 2 points now. I'm not sure if this is the game to do that in, however. The attack speed slow isn't going to be incredibly useful up against Denialist heroes, and all they might be able to kite the Axe and the Brewmaster before they have Blink Daggers. Once Blink Daggers come out, it's going to pretty much be a null build choice. I think maxing Snowball probably would have been a better option this game.
Yeah, Sigil is probably, in most cases, Tusk's best skill, just because it does do so much as far as slowing down your enemies, but this game, slowing them down isn't really going to be doing all that much. Mind Control is going to get tagged with an arrow. Once again, the double teleportation is going to come in. Actually, one is cancelled. Jakiro is going to arrive right into a Cyclone, and it's once again going to be the death of the Death Prophet over towards mid lane, just getting a little bit too close to the Brewmaster after that split, and there's not much that you could do about that. In the meantime, Axe, he's just dropping a load of creeps. He's going to be just fine, I assume. Even if he dies, it's not going to be a terribly huge deal there. The kill on the Death Prophet is going to give the Brewmaster a Blink Dagger 930. That's about ideal for the Brewmaster in the mid roll, so he's now going to be able to crash AfterShock, and they've so far only taken 1 tower. I don't know, it's not looking that great for AfterShock at the current state of the game, but they do have a late game Necrophos and Death Prophet, and those 2 heroes are very swingy.
Yeah. Necrophos' item choice this game, he goes for a cloak and now into the Ring of Health. I'm not sure if this is going to be a full pipe for him, and honestly I wouldn't like that choice very much. There's some good magic damage coming up from Denial, but is it enough to warrant getting a pipe? I'm not sure.
Well, Cryojan, the bottom lane, is going to try to get the tower deny. Pipe is, I would say, a decent cost-effective item in this game, but bottom lane is a continuous fight. Kefka tries to run into the trees. The Ravage used will do literally nothing to anyone. Now Kefka might actually have an opportunity to kill off the Skywrath Mage, as he does put a lot of damage into him. The Moonlight Shadow is there, though, and Kefka is going to very calmly walk out of there. He has Tusk to back him up as well. Already used the snowball. Previous engagement up towards the top side of that jungle has happened, though I don't really think anything resulted in that. The end result in the end is going to be just Ravage used for nothing. Mid lane, Joral is going to try to go deep onto Zeroji. Has help from Paris, but they're walking into an Exorcism, and this hurts, especially with the double damage rune on the Death Prophet. Crypt Swarm is going to be thrown out occasionally, will not do too much, and it looks like the Death Prophet will not be able to take down a tower with this usage of Exorcism, nor will she be able to kill off anyone on that mid lane. But it's still AfterShock taking down a tower, and Denial wasting their Ravage. So if AfterShock want to, they can go for more, and it looks like they're going to mobilize on mid.
Yeah, it does seem that's the case. Even without Exorcism, Liquid Fire pushing potential is definitely there. It is going to be a full pipe build for Jalopy, so I suppose it is a pretty nice cost-effective item. I would have liked to see something that scales a little bit better late, but for now it's going to be really useful for his team. Magoma, as well as the other members of AfterShock, pushing out the middle lane. Tusk is on the front lines currently, but Liquid Fire is going to ensure that this tier 1 tower falls at the very least. They're not really spending much for it either. Ice Path, don't think it catches out vision of anything. There's an arrow thrown. It is going to land onto Zeroji. TP in the middle of this from the Brewmaster, going to be able to split immediately. There's a snowball to delay this, but now the snowball is going to be rolling into the Brewmaster. They will get a call into Zeroji, but the Axe ultimate is going to whiff. They still get the kill regardless. Mind Control, so there's a couple more Crypt Storms. The Brewlings are falling, but not before Mind Control is dropped to critical HP levels, and he will be dropped, although slower because of the sigil. Doesn't matter. Blink forward by the Brewmaster. Can't find anything else. And the tier 1 tower is still surviving. Another arrow fishing by the Mirana, not going to land onto anything.
Can't count on an arrow to open up a fight for you every single time, but when it does, man, what a fight you're going to take. Even with the snowball there, it still forced AfterShock into a very awkward position, and Jalopy was there just a little bit too late. An earlier scythe onto someone, a couple more death pulses could have made the difference there, but instead AfterShock, they kind of get split up a little bit too early in that fight and end up taking quite a lot of losses. There is no Ravage, no split, however, on Denial, so as long as AfterShock keep pushing within or between the cooldowns of the Denial side, then they will be able to take a couple of towers here and there, but they have to be a little bit more careful. I mean, that arrow should have been dodged. AfterShock, some of them saw it coming, and some of them dodged, but the Dazzle, unfortunately, is the one that you don't want to get hit with the arrows, because he will be able to bail people out with that shallow grave, and that's not going to happen this time. But still, I mean, AfterShock, they take down a tower. They're 3 kills behind, and right now they are 3 towers ahead right now, so you would expect them to be about 3,000 in the lead, but the lead in gold is not currently belonging to anyone, and experience is in favor of Denial. So AfterShock, they really have to take some better fights. Otherwise, their push-heavy lineup is not really going to be doing its job.
Yeah, it really isn't. Rana does go for Aquila bottle after the phase boots, and Paris really isn't picking up much momentum at all this game. But we saw, if you land the arrow, that doesn't really matter. Axe has been the real winner when it comes to the net worth. He's just been able to be evolved into a lot of kills, and effing Mad's getting a lot of farm out of the map on top of it. Blink Dagger in tow. Axe is now going to be working towards a Blade Mail, which he only has the robe towards, but still going to be a nice pickup for him, doing quite a bit of damage since he does have a decent HP pool, and a lot of the damage from AfterShock is kind of unavoidable. Like, the Exorcism is always going to be hitting into the axe, and although the armor is going to be nice to help mitigate that, it's still not enough. They will find Mind Control inside the river with an arrow, and now Ravage committed will get that kill. Ravage probably wasn't necessary, but DP is down.
I think it might be worth it. However, 30 seconds, Death Prophet will be up, and Denial will not have that Ravage. So this is actually going to give AfterShock an opportunity to start pushing some tier 2 towers, but even though they don't have a Ravage right now, they still have an Axe with a Blink Call, and they still have a Split, so that's pretty much all they need in order to get anything done. And well, Death Prophet off the field, got to shut down the hero with a lot of net worth, and currently she is near the top. Necrophos slightly leading her, but only slightly. So even though Denial actually don't really have, the hero on the top of the net worth chart, they have a good chunk of heroes that have all pretty balanced values in the net worth, and most of that, if not all of that, is just in Blink Daggers. So gonna get a slight net worth lead and translate all of that gold into Blink Daggers, and then that's gonna help them initiate the fights. And AfterShock, they have a lot of sustain, they have a lot of ways to dodge damage, but they need a little bit more when they're going to be perfectly initiated upon every single time. They're going to open up onto fucking Mad. No, they won't. He blinks away. They should be looking for a push right now, AfterShock, but Death Prophet's all the way up towards the top lane. She can't really make anything happen. It's going to be initiation onto Joral. They're just trying to force out the split, but they need a lot more than just a Jakiro to do that.
Yeah, it was just kind of half-attempted initiation, but now they find a blink. as well as a call into Zeroji, and Zeroji's going to fall to the anchor smash of the Tidehunter. Dazzle again getting caught out alone, and that's going to mean the end of them. They also drop a macro pyre there that doesn't really accomplish much. Denial, they're finding more, and they're finding it on a lot more heroes than AfterShock have. Although Necrophos and Death Prophet are at the top of the net worth chart, they're still pretty comparable to the fourth farming hero of Denial, which is that Tidehunter. It's only about a 500 gold difference between them.
So if this game does drag on to a super late game scenario, I mean, like AfterShock, they're not pushing as many towers as I really would expect, but at the same time, Denial, they're working with an Axe, who isn't really a great late game hero. They have a good amount of damage and a lot of utility from their team fights, but their right-click damage is really going to pale in comparison to a farmed Necrophos and a farmed Death Prophet. So AfterShock, though they would like to be pushing towers, even though they aren't, it's not exactly the end of the world for them. At least it doesn't seem like that.
Yeah, it really doesn't. Yeah, Denial versus Mind Sandy is going to be happening, so stop asking in the chat. We can't do anything about it. It's just an unfortunate delay.
That's going to stop them from asking.
Of course it is. But yeah, Mirana picking up a very late hand to Midas. Maybe this is what Denial need to accelerate them into the later portions of the game. Axe as well as Mirana, even though they're not the scariest six-slotted heroes in and of themselves, they seem to have a really high initiation edge over AfterShock. And unless Tusk is really on the ball with those snowball counter initiations once he gets his own Blink Dagger, I think that they might just be able to brute force their way through AfterShock.
And I think that will be the case for a good portion of this game. I mean, AfterShock, when was the last time they actually went for something? Okay, I take that back. They're going for something right now. It's Roshan. But before this, they haven't gone for a tower push in quite a long time. Last one was the mid-tier 1 tower, which was very quickly picked up by them for sure, but it costed them quite a bit. This Roshan is taking a little bit longer than I really would have thought. Mind Control should have maxed out. Yeah, he has everything maxed out at this stage for level 11 Death Prophet, and they will claim this Aegis. However, blink forward from Funzy, going to clip 3 with the Ravage. Actually 4, and also fucking mad jumping in. Double chop is going to kill off the 2 supports of Aftershock. Now Kefka going to get tagged with an arrow. Mystic Flare combination. Kefka, as tanky as he is not going to survive. They grab the Aegis on the Necrophos, but it's only him and Mind Control in the Roshan pit. They're going to try to teleport out. Necrophos is going to make it, but Mind Control maybe is going to make it out as well, landing a silence onto everyone. So the 2 carries on AfterShock get out of there alive, but it costs them everybody else. That fight was probably as bad as it could have been. Denial get the perfect opening, and though they do walk away with the Aegis, they don't have Exorcism. They have to still face up against a split. That's nothing but a loss for AfterShock. Now 10-2 the advantage for Denial.
Yeah, and the Aegis on Necrophos, although it's a nice tool, it's nothing that's going to help them push into these tier 2 towers effectively. Still Denial, they seem to have everything in their favor except for that Aegis. And that might be what's keeping AfterShock in this game, but it just feels like it's so slim. And now in mid, Mind Control is going to be blunk upon. There is a snowball to try to help bail him out, and it might be enough as that movement speed is making sure that Death Prophet's getting some distance away from everybody else. Tusk thrown up in the air. Brewmaster's slowed down a little bit by the Sigil, and now going to turn to his normal form. He's completely tapped out of mana, now silenced up as well as hit with that, excuse me, Poison Touch. It will be a Scythe kill onto the Brewmaster. So AfterShock finally, after loss, finds something.
Yeah, and it's going to be a pretty big thing as well. Brewmaster, a pretty high priority kill. I mean, he doesn't have the most net worth in the game, only with Vlads and Blink Dagger, but being down for a minute is going to be pretty backbreaking for Denial. Now the only way they have of initiating a fight is random arrow or Blink Call. Still, Blink Call is absolutely devastating 20 minutes into the game, but AfterShock should be able to avoid that. They have Liquid Fire, and that in itself will be enough to take down this tower. Mind Control also has Exorcism that is cooling down, and if they really want to, they can use that for this push. However, if they bring down this tower quickly enough, they can use this Exorcism to poke at the high ground. It will not be able to outright take it, but they know that the enemies are down without their ultimates, so they might take this opportunity to do so, or they might back off and go for the bottom lane. Going for a tier 2 with the Exorcism, or just the pushing power of Liquid Fire is also pretty good. It only takes 1 kill for AfterShock to find so much momentum, and this is actually pretty scary for Denial. They held on to all these tier 2 towers for 20 minutes, but all of a sudden they're going to be down 2 of them.
Yeah, right now the tier 2 tower down in bottom is their next objective. They will pop the Exorcism for it, and it looks like they're going to be able to get away with this one pretty cleanly. It's going to fall before Denial have really a chance of trying to contest this. There's a Sentry Ward dropped on the ground while the tower is still alive, so Denial definitely know it's there, but it pretty much serves its purpose. No Mirana ultimate was used to try to crash that party, and AfterShock find a clean tier 2, and should be able to get back on their side of the map before Denial are able to put any comparable pressure on their side.
Even with those towers, the advantage in gold and experience is still being led by Denial, so they need a little bit more than that. Not a good start up on top where Mind Control is going to get called, then arrowed. There is a pipe in the way of that axe, and now he's left all alone. He does not have enough damage to kill off Mind Control unless he gets the luckiest spins, and he will, although a Scythe is going to very quickly put an end to him. Axe is down for 70 seconds, and AfterShock yet again get another Scythe kill, and though they don't have Exorcism, they are facing up against Ravage Split. They might be able to make something happen just having the numbers advantage alone, especially if they catch someone else. It's not going to happen over towards mid, but they will get a tower deny. It's almost guaranteed from the Jakiro right now, and yeah, they will claim that deny, so it's a couple of series of wins from AfterShock. And are they really going to go down the mid lane Exorcism timer? Up in 70, it's not really going to be the most convenient of timings for AfterShock if they really do want to push high ground right now.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do it, but it looks like they're going to try at the very least. They still have an Aegis on Necrophos, although that's going to be timing out fairly shortly. They still have at least a minute of it, so Jalopy is going to try to put that to use, and they're going to put as much damage as possible onto this tier 3 tower, and subsequently the racks if they're still sticking around. Concussive Shot's going to slow Jalopy, but the arrow lands onto a creep. They'll pull off the creep aggro at the very least, and that's a little bit of delay onto this push, but still the Liquid Fire Spam is slowly but surely going to chip this tower, currently down to half, and now with the axe respawning, AfterShock are going to back out. But as we've just seen twice in a row, they just need that one pick-off. Arrow thrown up by the Mirana is not going to find anything, and now the return kill, it looks like they're going to look for Brewmaster, but the Ravage connects onto everything. They're going to drop a Mystic Flare. It's split between Goba as well as Jalopy, but Jalopy's falling too quickly. He's shallow graved and can't survive through it. He has the Aegis. Where did he actually end up going? He's inside the Snowball of the Tusky, eventually loses the Aegis, and now Tusk in a bit of a pickle, going to be bouldered up by the Brewmaster as well as the Arcane Bolt. Necrophos with the second life, trying to clean up as many kills as possible, and now with a couple of Death Pulses as well as a Scythe, they'll clean up the Scarlet Mage. It's 2 for 2 now, but that's the ultimates down for Denial, and still Death Prophet up with Exorcism. If they had their Jakiro, they could go high ground now, but they're missing a fairly large component of their pushing engine.
They only have to wait 20 seconds, though, and if they continue this fight, then it will be benefiting them. However, Mind Control going to get tagged with an arrow. Not going to be too relevant right now. AfterShock, they actually took a remarkable fight right there. Like, they get initiated upon with a split, with a full 5-man Ravage, yet they get the pipe out just in time to save the Necrophos a lot of that damage. Plus, they get him in the shallow grave. Plus, they actually put him in the snowball, and they have the Aegis. So they pretty much wasted all of Denial's time to kill off just the Aegis of the Necrophos. And yes, AfterShock did lose a couple of heroes here and there, but now the big things are down. There's no Ravage, there's no Split, and they still have the Death Prophet Exorcism. This is pretty much the best time that AfterShock can possibly ask for to go down for a mid lane push. And I mean, for Denial, you can't really fight that much better. You land all your skill shots, or all your big ultimates, all the ones that count, yet you still come out behind because of how defensive AfterShock's supports are. That was a huge series of plays from AfterShock, and well, maybe they'll be able to make something happen off of this. Maybe they won't. But either way, they have to be feeling pretty good about how that went.
Yeah, I think they're going to wait until they get another Scythe pickoff, but with that cooling down as well as now Aghanim upgrade, it's going to be huge for AfterShock if they're able to connect it, especially on one of the more pivotal heroes inside the team fight. If they take out like the Axe or the Brewmaster, that could be their go-ahead to take down the tier 2 tower up top, or even pressure high ground in some of the other lanes. It could completely turn the game on its head. Roshan, still a minute and a half till we know exactly when the respawn timer is going to be up, or it has the potential to respawn, rather. So maybe AfterShock will wait for that, but at that time they'll have a Ravage up, and that's only coming off of cooldown in 15 seconds. AfterShock, they might be feeling confident enough to take that fight again. I mean, if you did just win a team fight up against a 5-man Ravage, maybe you can fight into that, as weird as that is to say.
That's awfully bold from AfterShock, though, because it is still a very slim victory that they just took, and they had an Aegis in that last fight, and this next time, maybe they're going to be more willing to use Exorcism just for damage output, but it's still going to be an incredibly thin fight if it goes either way. They're going to put Jalopy as bait down towards bottom. However, it seems like Scarlet Mage knows exactly where the supports are right behind Jalopy, and Denial are not going to bite right now. Yet AfterShock are still mobilizing down in this bottom lane. All 5 of their heroes, maybe it's going to be a smoke gank for them. It will be. And they're going to try to pursue someone. It is going to be Tidehunter to be in the most vulnerable position, but he does have a straight blink dagger out, and he's going to see the smoke blown by Kefka. and it's going to be a straight TP out from him. Kefka, still pretty swift with that Yule Scepter, is not going to be able to catch up to anyone. So smoke, unfortunately, blown by AfterShock, and will not result into anything, but maybe they're just trying to buy a little bit more space to set up for Roshan. Still, we don't know how long it's going to take for him to come back, but AfterShock, they're just trying to assert their dominance on the map right now, just to keep Denial scared, but they are going to be fighting up against all the ultimates, all the scary team fight skills from Denial. So Roshan, actually conveniently in 30 seconds, so gonna be certainly contestable by Denial, and if Denial find out about this, then they will for sure try to crash this party.
They will have to find out about it very quickly, though, as Mind Control, if he commits the Exorcism for it, it should be a fairly straightforward, excuse me, Roshan for them. There is some vision around the Roshan pick coming out from the Radiant, and it's actually in a really good spot that isn't dewarded by AfterShock, so unless AfterShock smoke into the pit, they will know if somebody walks down this ramp here, which is incredibly likely.
All right, AfterShock, of course, don't know about it either, though they are in an area where they can very quickly find out about it. For now, it is going to be both teams flying blind, and Roshan going to get a little bit more time to live his life in that Roshan pit. Maybe they're waiting for AfterShock a mechanism on Jakiro. He almost does have that one. It is kind of an awkward sequence of items. Getting a 30-ish minute mechanism is a little bit late, but this is also after a Yule Scepter, so we will have all the items to contribute to the team. They have a BKB on the Death Prophet, as you said previously, Aghanim Scepter on the Necrophos. So they have all of their tools, some very useful tools in order to deal with Denial. But, I mean, Denial, they're still working with Hand of Midas Mirana, and that has been taking away for quite a long time now. And AfterShock, if they're not going to make nice concerted pushes on the high ground, and this Mirana is going to very quickly get out of control. Typically not the most fearsome late game hero, she can get to that status if you leave her alone for long enough with a Midas.
Yeah, and Paris also, now with the Mjolnir, is going to accelerate her farm even more in that regard. However, Kefka looking for wraparound on the Brewmaster. A blink away is probably going to keep Droll safe. An arrow as well from the Mirana is going to miss, but now the Jakiro pursuing a different target. That target leaps away, and everybody should be able to make it out here alive. Droll straight TP will succeed. Another big item now for Denial is going to be a refresher on the Tidehunter, and now AfterShock need to be very careful about taking these fights. Although they don't know about this, Tidehunter, he can't level up his ultimate at level 16, but I think he barely has enough mana in order to use his double ultimate. But he kind of needs to rely on his teammates popping arcane boots, and actually, nobody on their team has arcane boots, so Tidehunter can only get off Ravages.
He could Ravage and then refresh, and then that's it, if he's at full mana. So, as nice as it is to have a refresher orb, you can't actually use it. So, Funzy is going to be requiring a little bit more time before he actually gets usage of it. Oh, Paris up on top is going to narrowly dodge an Ice Path, forces out a Macropyre, and wow, it looks like AfterShock just didn't see the Mirana. Mirana's going to get silenced, but she will be fine. Teleport away. That was very close. That could have been very bad for Denial, but I guess Paris is just very, very sneaky as that cat lady, so it's going to be a clean escape for her, and she's buying more and more time and space for Denial. Now it's not only the Mirana who's going to get to scary amounts of farm, but it's also the Tidehunter, as he is essentially still farming up for his refresher orb right now.
Yeah, Tidehunter is sending a courier out to the secret shop, and it is going to be a casual energy booster for him. Although he doesn't have arcane boots, he might as well complete up the arcane boots since he is going for this item. But yeah, he just needs that extra mana to be able to get off both of his ultimates. At first I thought it was the casual null talisman on his courier, but no, that one's for Skywrath Mage.
Yeah, so now he has to make sure to watch out for the level 3 increase in mana cost of a Ravage, as once he has that, I think he will still have enough. What is that, 700, 800? Yeah, I think he will have enough for everything, for double Ravage, assuming he doesn't cast anything else. Maybe Magic Stick is going to help out a little bit as well, but Funzy just barely has enough mana to do pretty much exactly what he wants, and it looks like because he does have enough now, they're going to go for a push down the bottom lane. AfterShock, they are more or less ready for this. No split push to try to delay, but Jalopy on the front lines. The Aghanim Scepter is very tanky and threatening to boot. If anyone drops on Denial to half HP, they are just going to die to the Scythe, although it is actually only a level 2 Scythe. I kind of expected it to be a level 3 Scythe by now, but Necrophos only level 14. He's close to 15, but that's not going to matter if he just gets one more level. Scythe, even with Aghanims, what is it actually at level 2? It's still actually pretty good. It's pretty much a level 3 Scythe.
Yeah, it's reasonably good, and I think more important is just being able to deny that buyback and that extra respawn timer. Dust popped by the Jakiro, doesn't catch anybody out, and here's your Ravage. It only lands onto one, but they'll be able to bring down that one. The secondary Ravage lands onto three. Zeroji now eats an Anchor Smash as they focus down Jalopy. With the Gush, they'll be able to dunk him down. Secondary dunk not going to come out in time, but it's still a triple kill for effing Matt. TP away from Magoma will keep him safe, but Kefka is not going to be as lucky as it's an ultra kill for effing Matt, getting dunks on two of those, and now a tier 1 tower going their way. Denial have so much wind under their sails after that fight.
Well, AfterShock didn't cast any of their defensive skills just because they were ravaged the entire time, because the Death Prophet wasn't even able to pop off a BKB or a Panic Eul Scepter or anything on herself, because she was, she had a private Ravage, and that's usually pretty steep commitment from any hero that decides to do that, but it was very much so worth it for Denial when you had the follow-up of a Mystic Flare, of an Axe jumping in for even more lockdown, plus the execution from the Culling Blade. And that was pretty much as good as it gets for double Ravages, and Tidehunter showing that he does just barely have enough to get all of that out as AfterShock get completely cleaned up. And that just shows how fragile their fight it really is. I mean, mentioned it before after the fight in the kind of mid lane area of the Radiant. It was a thin win there, if you could even call it a win, and now it's just an outright loss for them. They're going to try to crash Roshan right now. Mind Control is going to land a decent silence onto all of them, but the Aegis has already been claimed. Nice Ice Path onto 2. Paris is going to get shredded right now as Dural is also going to take a fall. Snowball onto Cryo J. Magoma's going to take that one down. Funzy still in the pit, is very quickly going to drop. Now the Mirana is going to get locked down in the Ice Path, and she'll take a fall as well. Just as quickly as AfterShock get wiped, they return the wiping back to Denial in devastating fashion. Denial, they don't have their ultimates, and even though Exorcism is not available for Mind Control, they still have Liquid Fire. This is actually a nice opportunity for AfterShock to try to force some buybacks.
And, well, since they killed that Brewmaster with the Scythe, he's not going to have his available, so they know Brewmaster is down for 60 seconds, and his foot was on cooldown anyway, so he wasn't able to do anything. Buyback from the Tide and the Mirana trying to delay this, but they're going to get a tier 3 tower. Effing Matt jumps in with BKB Blade Mail, trying to focus down Kefka, not getting enough spins, and can't get off that dunk immediately. There's the dunk, it's going to whiff, however, and they will probably still kill off the Jakiro, but currently inside the Snowball, going into Paris. Jakiro's still alive, now with the mechanism as well, surviving a lot longer than I thought he would. That's Mirana down, and a dieback. Tier 3 tower to fall, and now they will pop the glyph, but the melee barracks are being focused down by Liquid Fire, and the right clicks of too many enemy heroes, and now just aren't in position to fight, and they don't have the ultimates to back it up. This is going to be our first lane going the way of AfterShock, at the very least one melee set.
My god, it looked so bad for AfterShock after that bottom lane fight. They got completely demolished, yet here they are knocking down buildings just because of Liquid Fire and the strength that that skill has. Mind Control doesn't even have his Exorcism up. It's going to be a smash and grab. They also force out the buyback from the Mirana. She's going to be set back for quite a long time in this game. She still has Hand of Midas working away, but the Ultimate Orb is going to stay as an Ultimate Orb for a long time, and now AfterShock conveniently going to slide right up towards top lane and take down a free tier 2 tower. They're probably not going to be able to get anything else as far as Raxes are concerned, however, since Denial are now working with Double Ravage and the Split once again. But still, AfterShock take Raxes, and it's about on time for their type of lineup. Maybe a little bit late, but, I mean, by 30 minutes, having one set of Raxes is pretty ideal when you're running both a Death Prophet and a Jakiro, and that's about it as far as your pushing is concerned. And man, if they just stay this course, they should be just fine. The Aegis on Mirana was not relevant at all, and well, now next time that fight happens, maybe AfterShock take it slightly better, and then they're going to very quickly just go for another set of Raxes, since all the tier 2 towers are now down. AfterShock suddenly looking very good in this game.
Yeah, and a lot of that's off of the back of those Reaper Scythes coming out from Jalopy. It's just such a ridiculous spell. Being able to effectively delete a hero and make sure that they can't buy back, and they're down for way too long. He just synergizes so well with the Death Prophet, being able to take towers off of those, I don't know, pickoffs, and fighting 4v5 is so much easier, even when you are dealing with like Ravages and Axe Calls. It actually doesn't matter, and Jalopy and his Reaper Scythe, I think, are going to be MVPs, at least for AfterShock, in this first portion of the game. Denial still have a team that, if they're able to combo together correctly, all of their ultimates can still take some pretty convincing team fights, and they're looking to start one now. Smoked up as well as Moonlit Shadowed up. They might be able to kill off this Jakiro, who's currently farming inside the jungle. Jirel stalking him, and Jakiro drops a Macropyre. He's none the wiser as the rest of his team set their sights towards mid, silencing up Mind Control. They will be able to get the dunk kill onto Dazzle on the backlines. But now with the Exorcism pop, they're going to be forced to run away. BKB on the Death Prophet. They throw Ice Shards that will bounce back to Skyrath Mage, but the rest of the fight's on the backlines. Drow being scythed down. It's going to be a return kill for AfterShock, and now Split has been taken off of the game for a minute and a half. Now with the Yule Scepter onto Skyrath Mage, he's been held down in place, slows down Mind Control as much as he can, but the Spirits will eat him apart. And now it's the rest of Denial to try to fight, and with effing mad as BKB wearing down, they can't actually do that. They're going to be fighting without their Brewmaster and without their Skyrath Mage for the greater portion of a minute.
They still have Double Ravage plus a Mirana with the Mjolnir. There is always the possibility that Double Ravage just instantly wins you fights just because of how devastating that skill is, but Scythe is going to be up in another 30 seconds. By the time they need to use it, AfterShock will have it available. Exorcism, once again, is not going to be available for this high ground push, but we've seen it before. Clearly, the Jakiro Liquid Fire is enough should AfterShock want to breach the space. However, the Skyrath Mage is going to be up again. They again have the possibility of Ravage to Mystic Flare, killing off one almost instantly. And Tusk is going to have to be on point. Dazzle is going to have to be on point if they want to defend themselves against that with the Grave and with the Snowball. But the siege is going to start. Liquid Fire onto the tower. A couple of pokes here and there from Mind Control and Jalopy. And the tower is going to be defended for now, as AfterShock don't really have that much of a creep wave, but here comes the creep wave. And as long as these heroes play a little bit far away from the rest of their creeps, then Axe initiation is going to be, for the most part, irrelevant. Like, Jalopy's in a little bit of trouble. Mind Control gets tagged with an arrow, but I mean, she has a heart. This Death Prophet really doesn't care about those types of things. Fucking Mad is finally going to jump in for a call, but instantly gets thrown up into the air. Now Ravage going to connect onto pretty much everyone, but Jalopy gets Force-Staffed out. Another Ravage going to come through. Everyone's still alive for AfterShock. Jalopy needs a little bit more help. Mech and BKB, and now into the Snowball. Who's he going to go for? It's going to be Funzy off in the corner. Scythe is going to kill off the Tidehunter. He's down for good. Fucking Mad still trying to go after Magoma, but it's only going to be a Tusk to die right now for AfterShock. The split has already happened for Brewmaster. Now going to try to chase down Kefka, Mind Control, but they're all getting healed up quite decently by the heals of both the Necrophos as well as Dazzle. They're dropping pretty low, but they're not dying, and that's really the strength of AfterShock's lineup. The Brewmaster has got to fall back. Now with no Ravages, is going to get thrown up into the air, set up for an Ice Path. Durrell is going to fall right into a little bit of fire and a little bit of ice, very slowly beaten down by the rest of AfterShock as Jalopy, meantime, in the enemy base, is going to be killing off Axe and then changing his mind, trying to go for Durrell. This skull might be enough to do it. Zeroji gets Force-Staffed right into an arrow, and he will be going down. Fucking Mad in the meantime, trying to kill off everyone else, but Mind Control has had enough time for his ultimate to cool down now. And Denial, they're not able to defend this any longer. I dropped out of the game.
I'm out of the game now, too. I was in there for like a second after you said it, but okay, hopefully that was not the players dropping out. Either way, it doesn't look like they're going to be able to defend that push. I don't really see anything left in the tank for them. And even though they leak a couple of supports here or there, it actually doesn't matter for AfterShock. This should be 2 lanes of barracks. I don't think they have what it takes to push into the third immediately. But heck, maybe they do. Let's just see if we can actually get back in this game. I'm still loading in.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's hope everything is going to be fine, guys. I mean, AfterShock, they just pretty much guaranteed themselves 2 sets of Raxes, right? There was nothing that Denial could have done there. The third set of Raxes is going to be a little bit more difficult, but, I mean, AfterShock, they weren't even in much trouble at any point during that. I mean, they had so many heals being thrown around with the Mech, with the Dazzle Shadow Wave, with the Death Pulses from Necrophos, who, dropped down pretty low, granted, but the BKB and the Snowball kept him safe all the while. I cannot actually connect back in just yet, so let me know if you're in, but hopefully this isn't going to be a problem moving forward.
Unable to establish connection to the server. Well, that's not great.
Oh my god, no, please. Okay, so I'm pretty sure AfterShock had this game in the bag, but who knows? No one else in the groups are saying anything about this.
I'm gonna check servers or something. Like, I have no idea. The servers look fine. There's a couple of down here or there, but nothing too major.
Okay, guys, so, yeah. I mean, we were complaining about pauses before. This is a different issue entirely, but even worse. I mean, it actually doesn't get worse than this.
Well, we've caught up to the stream. And we're still not into the game. Oh, this sucks.
What to do? Oh, hey, at least fucking Matt is in the Battle Central Europe group, so. Oh wait, no, fucking Mad says he's back in, so maybe it just takes a little bit more time. Hey, I'm back in too. We're all back, guys. Exorcism is still has a pretty high duration.
Okay. I didn't try loading in until effing Mad said he was in the game because I didn't want to like try too many times, then it would like kick me or something. I don't know. Well, hopefully I'll be able to get in too. And hey, we have a game.
Okay, so yeah, I just said that I'm pretty sure AfterShock. No, I just disconnected.
I was in, and then I was out.
No. Just when I thought
Oh.
I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Oh.
Volvo,
Very
you're
well.
literally killing esports right now.
Yeah, it's not great.
What's that wallpaper's name? I actually have no idea. I could check it out for you guys, but I don't know.
I think it's actually just called Traxix the Dro Ranger.
Oh. Well, there you go. I'm the owner of it, and I don't even know what it's called. I could check it out as soon as I'm through this loading screen, guys, but
Yeah, that's it.
sweet. Confirmation from the person who doesn't even own it. It disconnects again, yeah. Oh man, since I'm host, I have to like do the whole load thing. I don't know how that works. I'm scared of it. I'm gonna mess it up and everyone's gonna be angry.
Okay, to be fair, it would be really nice of Denial to just forfeit.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it didn't look like they had much of a chance, but when you're
I
working
hate
with
to
the Mirana
yeah.
double Ravage, you never really want to be doing that.
Yeah, I hate to suggest that, but they're gonna lose 2 lanes, and is it really worth the trouble of going through a reload so we can have 2 minutes of gameplay to watch them call GG?
Yeah, I mean, it is hard to say for sure. I mean, realistically,
Miracles
I don't
happen.
think Denial can do it, but they're also just probably not going to accept that just because it's understandable.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame them either
Yeah.
way. Like, I don't know. Like, this tournament needed any more delays.
Yeah. We have double racks here. It's fast for a team fight. So, okay, guys, I'm going to put up the wait screen. I'm going to stop the record. Gonna start the recording again, so maybe the VOD will look in one piece. This is gonna be chaotic as soon as this game unpauses. We're pretty much exactly where we are. Yeah, Death Prophet, she has her ultimate again. Oh my god, AfterShock just took a fight. Respawn timers, looks like they're pretty short for the AfterShock side, but okay, we're right back into it. Fucking Mad's gonna jump in along with Jarrell. They're gonna lay down the Macro Pyre and Ice Path, landing on Fucking Mad though. Kefka with the Blade Mail taking so much damage, gonna lay down the mech though. Fucking Mad is going to roast in that Macro Pyre and Mind Control. Still with the Exorcism going, is going to lay into this Brewmaster, going to bring him down. Mind Control, still with the BKB available. There's a quick buyback from the Brewmaster, but it's gonna be the melee Raxes to take most of the heat. Paris is dropping pretty low, has gotta pay attention to the Scythe of Jalopy. He's going to get Scythe, that's gonna be lethal. Paris has no more buyback, and now it's only Jarrell and Cryo J. With they missed the Mystic Flare, they will also miss the Arcane Bolt because of the Evil Scepter. Cryo J is going to get brought down by Mind Control, and as promised, guys, the game is only going to last for another 5 or so minutes. After the reload in, Denial only have their Brewmaster up. Tidehunter not going to be live for another 13 seconds, and in the meantime, AfterShock, they're going to be pushing down the last set of Raxes. I can't believe we wasted that much time just to have this happen.
Yeah, and now with the Liquid Fire, the Tier 3 tower up top is soon to fall. And now into the second set of racks. They're going to make this Megas, and although, or maybe they will, they're actually exercising a little bit of caution, jumping for Drow, and maybe this is why they get the split off. Now focusing on Mind Control. They are going to stun him up once, but they have a Sigil here, which is stopping a lot of the damage, and Ice Path as well. Mind Control's just focused down the barracks, and even if Mind Control dies, which is unlikely with his heart, they're going to be able to take down these barracks, and, well, let's see, they just need a couple more auto attacks. They're going to throw everybody in the Snowball. Snowball's rolling after effing Mad, and effing Mad is now going to be locked inside of that. He gets the PKB off, but that's not going to stop the Polar Punch. Effing Mad is now now just being constantly harassed, and they'll be able to take that melee barracks. There's another scythe inside the base. That'll secure the end of Axe's days in this world, and that's going to be GG.
Man, it was only 2 minutes. That was such a waste of time. Okay, well, I mean, I'm not going to blame Denial or anything like that. I'm going to once again blame Valve, but that's how the game ends, guys. I'm pretty sure anyone could have seen that one coming, but this is only game 1. We still have 2 more games before we're done for the day, and, well, that lobby is going to be coming up shortly, guys, so hope you enjoyed this cast. Hope you enjoyed the picks. AfterShock are going to take it 1-0 so far over Denial, and we're going to be right back for game number 2.